Now is my sound working? Let's see if that's working now. If the sound is working and you're watching, let me know. Hope you're all doing well. Now is my sound working? Now my sound's working. Cool. Great start. So hope you've all been doing well. It's been one hell of a busy week for me back at work. So I'm just gonna chill out and paint some bases tonight. Hope you're all doing well. If you're working on any hobby tonight, let me know what you're doing. I'm going to be painting some bases to get the rest of my gore on some bases and have that Beastman Force I was working on all on bases. You can see I've got 20 gore and a Beast Lord over there all done. And so now we're just going to get the rest of these all nice and painted up. So let's get cracking on with that, shall we? So start adding the lead belcher parts to it all. Sort of decide where we want a lead belcher. But yeah, what hobby has everyone been working on this past week? Let me know what you've been working on or what you are working on now. I mean, it's still the weekend for some people. It's still my weekend, which is cool. I do have work tomorrow though, but then it will be my proper weekend eventually. So we'll just do a little. Just needed a nice little break. I haven't done much hobby, if any, this week. It's been a bit depressing. So get back on my hobby train, do something to make me feel like I've done something. So that's why I'm picking something. Just getting these bases out of the way, get those beastmen onto their bases, have them finished properly, and I think we'll be feeling in a lot better place, I think. So yeah, just have a beastman for. We're hopefully getting some recording of some battle reports done on Tuesday, in a couple of days' time, which will be fun. There's 3 of us doing the recording, so we'll have 2 people playing and 1 person recording, which hopefully I think will work a bit better for recording battle reports. We've done I record while I play my opponent, and I'm really not fond of it at all. So hopefully this should go a lot better this time, and just have a bit more fun while recording battle reports. I forgot how I did particular bases. I had to leave the circle plane. Just checking back and making sure I'm doing like the bases somewhat similar. Doesn't really matter in the end if I paint different bits, different colors on different ones. They are just bases in the end. Probably got to tidy up a little bit. But yeah, it's been a slow week for hobby this week. I think going back to work, I realised how much of a hit my hobby would take. I've certainly dropped quite a way off considerably what I was punching out. But I've got some good time next week. Generally, I work like one longer week, one shorter week. So next week's my shorter week. So I should be able to smash out some hobby over, well, this coming week, I should say. So but yeah, these are, I do like the Shadow Dominion bases there. They make painting and getting some nice, good quality bases done pretty quick and easy. There's another bit like that. Where is it? So this will finish up the other beastmen. Then I'm just going to finish up the 2 Brave Shamans I've got there. Got some Minotaurs. I've got to do the base on the Shaggoth. I've got a Gargant and 2 Tuscarora Chariots that I haven't done yet. And that'll be like a nice little Beastman force to play around with. I think it's like 1,500 points per Beastman. Should be a bit of fun to play with. And yeah, if you are watching the chat and you're doing some hobby, let us know what you've been working on or what you are working on. Always interested to hear what everyone is working on. So that's that one done. Yeah. I'm going to attempt to do like a little Start Collecting Box challenge this week as well. Celebrate Age of Sigmar's sort of birthday. Figured I'd do something cool, a little challenge. I've got to start collecting Fire Slayers. I'm going to attempt to paint in 24 hours. So I've got to get that built first. And so that'll be fun to put that together. Should probably do that soonish and get that ready for paint. And yeah, it'll be just a fun little painting challenge. Last one I did was 1,000 points of Stormcast in 8 hours. And I did fail at that, but I managed to get it done in 12. It's actually the 1,000 points of Stormcast I have there. So I managed to get that 1,000 points of Stormcast done in 12 hours. So I'm going to attempt to do a Start Collecting Fire Slayers box in 8 hours. That'll be the plan for that. I should have that stream uploaded soon. Or the preview for the stream up soon. And so hopefully some people will come along and join me for some crazy hobby fun while I attempt to paint the whole Start Collecting box in 8 hours. Hi my Varian, hope you're doing well, mate. Just painting up some bases tonight. Thought, well, while I wait up for the football to start, I might as well do some painting. Yeah, not too bad. Bit buggered. Been a bit of a hectic week at work, and the hobby's been lacking. So, good to sit down and get some hobby done. Which has been cool. Just enjoying getting some hobby time. Oh, nice. How are the rats going? Nice, 13 down, 7 to go. So progress, that's good. That's what we want. I'm just getting the bases done for my last a few gore that I need to get based. Last few beastmen on these sort of bases, so nice. Move on to the molder stuff next. Do love some molder stuff. Alright, so that's it for that. Yeah. That's dry. Working, so I'm doing like a zinc scheme on my Shadow Dominion bases. Do I have any painted so I can show them? Surely, awesome. I have a couple painted so I can show off what I'm doing. So this is the scheme that I'm going for. That's better. And so that's the same for my Zinch and my Beastman. So that way I can use the Beastman in a Phantasmagoria Fate and put it in Zinch if I really want to. And so my Zangor can swap between both forces easily. Alright, so now I need my Stegodon Scale Green. So I can do some touch-ups. And then move on to picking out all the skulls, some dry brushing and some washing, and then they're done. Nice and simple bases on these. Nothing too fancy. Zinch is a lot of fun to paint. There's a lot of detail in it. Won't lie. But I have painted up a decent Zinch force. You can actually see up there all that Zinch that I painted up this year. So a lot of fun to paint Zinch though. My main army probably still Cities of Sigmar. You can see them up the top. They're the one I play the most games with in the end. And then above that, there's actually all the Hydras in the world. That's 6 Hydras I've got painted up there. Favorite army is still Cities of Sigmar. It doesn't change. I like Cities of Sigmar a lot. They are my favorite army. Probably a close second would probably be Stormcast. Would be my next favorite. And then probably, or after Stormcast, it might be Stormcast. After Stormcast, it gets difficult. I do enjoy my Zinch. I've not played a lot of games for my Zinch though, but I do enjoy painting them. Or like the Beastmen have been a ton of fun to paint as well. Yeah. I do have more Zinch that I've got to paint. I've got another couple of boxes of Karak Acolyte sitting there. The Aether Wars set, down the spells and all that. So probably revisit and get the rest of my Zinch done at some point. Luminous are still in the post, unfortunately. The price to pay of trying to save $1 on them is that they're still in the post. So I'm doing bases. I'm boring tonight. Shattered Dominion bases for the rest of the Beastmen that I've got to finish basing. So I've got another 20 gore that have all finished. They just need to be based. Got a couple of Minotaurs to shag off, a Giant, and some Tuskarr Chariots and Bray Shamans. Yeah, it's interesting because like I find painting like in big batches sort of cathartic. I enjoy it. It takes a bit of time, but once you finish that big batch, you do feel a sense of accomplishment. Like it's such a massive part of your collection done when you paint a big batch. Yeah, Tawny Terrain's done. I mean, I had enough. I pretty much supplied the majority for SAGT and probably going to be about half the size for CDGT. So 20 terrain is fine. I'm not painting more. Terrain can go stuff itself. I'm over terrain for a little while. I just need something nice, and it's been a bit of a hectic week at work this week, so something nice and simple that I can just get done is what I want to paint. But yeah, I'm looking forward to running the GT. You'll enjoy your molder all that much more in the end if you've painted all those clan rats and finally get to those units you want to paint. SA wise, I'm pretty sure it's me, Nick, and Luke are the ones that are jumping on it from the SA crew. I don't think anyone else got them. I think it's just us three. Probably Colin if they're really broken. Yeah, I don't think there's too many of us jumping on them. I was into Lumineth from day one, so I can't wait to just finally get my set. Yeah, pretty much. It's understandable when people sort of got other things to do. Like COVID, it does what it does, and you got to do your own thing. Yeah, and mold is great. I mean, underneath the desk here, I have a Hellpit Abomination just sitting there that needs to be built. We'll build him eventually. I've only owned it since like before two CanCons ago. It's still in its box. I have a lot of stuff though. A crazy amount of hobby. I now own the entire set of Underworlds too. I got everything. I just randomly went out and got absolutely everything for Underworlds the other day, which was cool. Keen to give that a try because just be something different. I'll probably start painting some 40k soon as well. The new 40k edition. I mean, I'm keen to give it a crack again and see if it's good. There's no better time to get back into a game than the new edition, so definitely be willing to give 40k another crack. Yeah, well, I was lucky. I managed to find really cheap the original I managed to find a bunch of the original set. So I managed to get the original actual box set. I managed to get, I think, nearly all the warbands. I think I'm just missing the Skaven one from the original set. But I'll manage to track that down eventually. Because while I know they're not playable in like tournaments or anything like that, for like playing around at home, ban lists mean nothing. From what I know, 40k is the old books are made for 9th edition. Especially from what I hear from friends that play 40k a bit more, there was a lot of weird wording issues that all of a sudden in the Eldar book make a lot of sense now. Sorry, not the Eldar book. The Eldar Psychic Awakening book had really weird rules wordings, but they all make sense now in the new edition. So all the Psychic Awakening books were made with 9th in mind. And for me, lore is a big part of what I do, so I'm really interested in that Indominus Crusade series to come out. Yeah. That'll be really cool to have a read and check up on that lore that I've sort of missed from 40k. Yeah, and like if nothing more, I think Underworld is a fantastic painting opportunity. Like if you've always wanted to paint Fire Slayers, well, here's 4 dudes. Go paint some Fire Slayers, and you don't have to paint an army of them, but you can always paint them. I think that's a great thing about it. Is like, and yeah, they would be great for like D&D and stuff like that. And hey, Kyle, hope you're doing well, mate. And if you can't see everyone we're chatting on, that's because the streams now stream to Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube, which is awesome. And I'm also potentially should have Instagram and Twitter up soon to stream to them as well, which is pretty cool. Being able to stream to multiple platforms is pretty cool. I haven't read any of it yet, and I'm not too fussed. Like, I think all these reviews of Lumineth that are coming out are going to be like null and void soon enough. Like, I want to do reviews on the channel, and sort of we're talking about doing like a full proper book review, so not necessarily always looking at just the rules. So in future, like when we do a battle report for a new book, it'll have the book mission or missions played out. We want to trial the Path to Glory system in all of them and do a Path to Glory campaign for everything, and review the lore and talk about like the lore and stuff and all that, and do like full actual. This is what we think of the book as a whole, because there's so much more than just rules. But back to original point, I think doing a Battletome review for Lumineth or something like that, or bothering to read it at the moment, is just not important. Till we're back playing proper games and we know all the books that are out when we're playing proper games, I think all these ideas and thoughts for Lumineth, especially pre-FAQ, I don't get. Ever since Khorne, I can't listen to a review that's pre-FAQ anymore. Or like I always take a review with a grain of salt pre-FAQ now. Ever since the Khorne fiasco. Especially, like, I'm not impatient, not worried about getting to Lumineth or anything anytime soon, because there's just rumor is September for release of the rest of the stuff, so I got my stuff, it'll sit there. Probably won't build or paint it until the full army comes out. Ooh. Definitely interested in that. I think the way I want to look at reviews on the channel is the most important question for me is does the army play like it sounds? Like the biggest one for me is I look at Halo's video and he always did this part in his videos where does the army play like how it sounds should, and the one that always stuck to me was KO. No, not at all. Old KO played nothing like you read about KO in the lore, where it was just gun lines for days and no airships. And I don't know. It'll be interesting. I look forward to eventually reading it and going through the lore and talking about all that sort of stuff. But for the meantime, I'm quite happy just to sit back. I'm quite interested in to see where 40K's lore and all that goes. Tonight we are powered by a Monster Energy drink. Doing some hobby and staying up while we wait for the football. Yeah, and that's what I'm hoping they play like. My big thing as well is I really hope they're playable without Techless in the army. I think that's the most important thing for me. I like the fact that you can put Techless in the army and he is good in the army, but I hope the army can be played without the dude because especially for outsider competitive, does the army work and do what it's supposed to do without Techless in it? Because in narrative and that, you don't always like using named characters. Yeah, somewhere I had Balthasar Gold. Where have I put it? Oh, I love when I misplace paint. Yeah, and that's my biggest thing. I said it before. I think KO will just hard counter Lumineth so hard. I think Lumineth will as well. Both those sort of gatekeeper forces will hard counter Lumineth so hard. We'll need to think of other strategies other than the ones we see and we sort of look at and we go, oh, they're really, really strong. But I think they're going to get countered really hard by armies that, in all honesty, don't actually feature a lot. Where is that goddamn paint? Oh, that's really annoying. Yeah, and I think that's the big thing. I think KO are like entirely dodgeable. I mean, really, the only KO player I know that's a consistent KO player in the entirety of Australia is Kron. That's an entire country's meta where I think there is one predominant KO player. Like, if you put every person in the country in a tournament, I think Kron would be the only player I'd expect to take KO. That says enough, I think, doesn't it? Skaven are extremely popular. I think they've fallen off a little bit now. There was a lot of hype around them when they came out because they're a really old army and they've got a lot of fans of the old Skaven. Best of gold is on my desk the entire time. Of course it was. Color blindness is not a fun thing. So I picked up every brown and green I own before I picked that up. Oh, well, got it now. But yeah, it's just the only time I've ever played KO are when Kron's had them. He's the only person with KO I've ever played. And same with like Deepkin. I think you can dodge Deepkin pretty easy as well, which are probably the other hard counter to Lumineth. Except I think Lumineth are going to be pretty popular. So it depends on who you go. Like, I think our community in SA, a lot of us are like older guy. Well, I'm pretty young compared to a lot of them, but most of the people in our meta are like dads or family guys. And yeah, you're far from unique, Snowflake. Skaven are like, oh, you're a hipster if you play Skaven, I would say. They are a old popular army. Lots of people played them before they were cool, is what you'd probably say with Skaven. But yeah, anyway, back onto the SA meta. Like, most of us are like older and like all sort of family people, so we don't generally churn out armies or change up armies a lot because we generally play very few games. The exclusions being on some of the guys, obviously, but most of us, are just that sort of person. I think there's those of us. Nah, you're fine with Skaven. You can be the one just jumping on a bandwagon. Although, is it really a bandwagon anymore for Skaven? Not really. But yeah, the SA meta, I think a lot of us just play an army and will play it for a long, long time. Like, Gabe's played Death forever and he's only just swapped to Slanesh. And like, people are still like trying to build armies of like some of these ones. So you've got like people like that are still trying to build their Ossiarch Bone Rippers. I mean, we don't actually have a Bone Rippers. Oh, we got one. We have one Bone Ripper army and there's still like 2 or 3 being built. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of like older armies. I mean, it's still likely I'll probably come up against at least a Legion and a Gash army. Stormcast will definitely feature still. Nurgle has only just disappeared. It depends on what certain people are doing. I think Khorne is pretty much gone from our meta now, though. I don't know anyone, unless like, I don't know anyone who plays Khorne anymore, unless Doom's going to bring out his own Khorne. And yeah, Wolf Wars is like completely correct. Skaven are like an ultimate toolbox army. They are cities but evil. Those two armies are just so perfectly aligned. They can both play so many different ways that they're just an evil version and a good version of each other. Yeah. It'd be interesting to see like how Lumineth do. I do think they like spell the end of like all those problems with Croak, because Teclis will just shut Croak down. You can, like, that's the thing. If you have a army that relies on one spell to do this big thing, it ain't working against Lumineth, because Teclis will just go no every time. That's the cool thing about Skaven. You can make them look unique. I'm doing my own sort of clan now, but I've seen some really cool ones with like people doing like Clan Scurvy, who are literally pirate rats. I've seen Clan Mordkin, who are Skaven who eat the undead, which is a really cool story about Mordkin. Clan Mordkin, their warlords make them eat the undead, so they don't fear the undead. So when they fight undead, they don't spray this. Their fear glands don't spray the musk of fear. They instead get, almost emboldened and enraged because they're hungry when they smell undead. It's pretty cool. Yeah, like it'll be interesting because I'm really interested. Tabletop Simulator is not a normal game. Like there are subtle differences, between the normal game and tabletop, and I really will be interested to see when we start having tournaments again properly. Does the Tabletop Simulator results translate to actual in-person gaming? Does that translate? And also, do those lists translate? Because, like, okay, I have some of those weird, wacky lists that can probably be run. But, like, there was the one we saw, like, the one with all the Scourge Runner chariots. I actually probably own that many Scourge Runner chariots. I just got to build them all. I've already got 6 built and painted. But, like, how many people actually own those armies? Or will ever own those armies? Yeah, I think it was 23 or something like that, Scourge Runner chariots. But it's like, how many people actually own them? Like, that's crazy money. Like, even in UK or US, that's some insane money to be pumping into chariots. I'm not sure how much they are in the US, but over here in Australia. The Salamander one's a bit easier, mainly because there's a particular company that does a variation of them. Also, Salamanders are much easier to paint than Scourge Runner chariots. I think that'll be another like big thing on like the Scourge Runner lists. there will be like some spammy lists and some weird wacky lists that'll work because like salamanders, Seraphon can be quite easy to paint. They can also be quite difficult. It depends on how you want to do them. Like I feel you can smash out 16 salamanders a lot quicker than you could smash out 23 Scourge Runner chariots. There's a lot to those Scourge Runners. You've got the horses, you've got the riders. Like the chariots are no joke either. The chariots are a mix of metal and wood and leather, and have to be painted in sub-assemblies. So painting does limit you. I mean, I think painting is why Daughters of Cain and Fire Slayers, especially Fire Slayers more than anything, have never taken over the game. I mean, there's no way Fire Slayers, without a doubt, should be like one of the top armies. You should be seeing them smashing in tournaments across the world with 60 Hearthguard Berserkers, but A, they're expensive, and B, no one wants to paint 60 Hearthguard Berserkers unless your name is Tom Lyons. And even then, he's taken a while at doing that. Like, it's interesting. Like how does painting sort of like stop people doing that army? And like, because it's like when Skaven were doing really well and Plague Monks were amazing, you know, people were talking about, okay, 200 Plague Monks, I win lists, and it's like, who actually is going to paint 200 Plague Monks? Yeah, and like that's another one is like the personal kneecapping, if you will call it that, of like which happened with Slaanesh. You know, you can look to like Vince outrightly saying he didn't like playing his Slaanesh because it just some stuff was so stupid that he shelved it. Like he shelved his own army because he didn't like doing something with it. And like you said, you've just sold your Fire Slayers because you spent all that time painting those Fire Slayers and then sold it because you just didn't like playing. You didn't like how your opponent had to play against that list. But yeah. Yeah, I think Techless would be a little bit more interactive because, like, okay, yes, he auto casts those spells, but your opponent has to interact. He's also killable. Like, I think that is the most important thing. Your opponent can try and kill him. Like, we were talking about, like, and then Ironclad with all its shooting will take him off the table. If your opponent's got ranged threat or even like fast moving combat threat, they can just avoid stuff. It'll get to him and it'll kill him. Because like you can't effectively screen with your Venari units unless you're willing to like completely sacrifice them, because they lose all their benefits when they screen and string out. You can't have 10 models like strung out, because then they lose the Shining Company rule. So it's interesting with how Lumineth might work like that. But also, yeah, we'll pause and like we've been talking about that one. On how Techless is killable. KO and Deepkin will enjoy playing against him a lot. I really do think which is interesting, those Gatekeeper armies. The only issue we were talking about is like you don't see KO that often. I don't know about your local meta, but like for me, like the whole of Australia, I know if you put the whole of Australia in a tournament, I know quite a few people from it. You might see one KO army. Like there's one person I could guarantee would bring KO. Just dry brushing a whole bunch, and then I'll do my wash, and then a little dry brushing after that, and the base is done. So we can do something else. Might start finishing off those Minotaurs, maybe. Yeah, Hello Heart, I feel, is getting found out now. I think there's just so much stronger magic than Hello Heart now. I think it might be the end for Hello Heart, potentially. Although the one thing Hello Heart can do, not even. The one thing Hello Heart has against, Lumineth is that it'll probably be lower drops if you build your army minimal. And yeah, Ben, that's just the simple issue of how rules work is like Eltharion will die to Goblin Spears. But that's always how like the best fighter heroes die, is they die to a million cuts. It's like you can only be a fantastic swordsman for so long before 100 goblins gets the better of you. It'll be interesting to see how Lumineth do on the table. Yeah, it's on Twitch. My very minimal Twitch account. At the moment, haven't really figured out all the Twitch stuff yet. I know I'm streaming to Twitch. I believe I am anyway. I think I am. So should hopefully be on Twitch. All the streams should be streaming through at the moment Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Twitch is the one I'm still working out. So it should be on Twitch, hopefully. I'm just having a look at that now. So it should be working on Twitch, hopefully. Yeah, it does seem that it's working on Twitch. I hope. Awesome. Yeah, it is working on Twitch. Some reason the Twitch comments don't show up on this though, which is interesting. So I need to actually be on Twitch to see the Twitch comments. Cool. That's good to know. So I hope I've had no one on Twitch while I've been doing this, because for some, like, your Twitch comment doesn't appear in like my feed on StreamYard, which is interesting. Yeah, there's always a delay on like one of them. Like, they're always delayed. They're not the same. I guess that's how like streaming works. It shoots out to one, then shoots out to the other, then shoots out to the other one. StreamYard's a fantastic thing if you're doing any sort of streaming. I could recommend StreamYard enough. The fact you can just stream to all of them. You can add in Instagram and Twitter, which I'll probably be doing soon as well. But it really helps just get more eyes on the channel, which is cool. But yeah. So anyway, what hobby are people working on? I've just done my dry brushing, and now I just got my washes to do. Currently a green shade on everything, on my metals. And that should be that. And that'll be that for the bases, at least for the time being. Then we'll pick up something else to work on. We might work on the base on the shag off, because he's pretty much done. He just needs his base finished. So which is cool. And yeah, definitely if you're Arcan the Black, nice. I do have an Arcan that I've got to paint for my OBR. I mean, I've got an OBR army that I've got to paint, so I'm thinking of doing some painting challenges. So I've got a Loon Curse and a Feast of Bones that I still have not even built. A Feast of Bones I haven't even opened. I am terrible for buying hobby and just leaving it on the shelf. I mean, I got a whole bunch of Zinch that I bought at the start of the year as well, and that most of that's unbuilt. I say I wasn't going to paint much terrain. And so, I might, who was it? Normally, yeah, okay, I might have to have a look into that. I am a complete streaming noob, so, well, not a noob. I mean, I managed to find my way doing this. Actually, getting a decent amount of people watching from all over the place, which is not bad, but I got things to learn, so I might go have a look into that sort of thing. Yeah, let the wife go to sleep in. It sounds like a good plan. I mean, I'm just painting because there's a football to watch tonight. By football, I mean soccer, wherever you are in the world. So. Yeah, I'm waiting on my Lumineth to arrive as well. I cheaped out and managed to find some cheap ones online, and so grabbed 3 of the box set. And so I'm priced to pay for that is I'm waiting. However, considering like the rest of it's not going to be released like September are the rumors for the rest of the release, I'm not too fussed. But it's good to see people working on a bunch of different stuff. And yeah, like I've seen the sprues and all that sort of stuff for the Lumineth. I don't think there's much you can do about those pikes. Magna racks seem very invaluable tools for anyone collecting Lumineth. So, and hello, by the way, Soren. I forgot to say hello to you. But yeah, it's been a productive night. I've almost finished up these bases, so we're done. I'll probably start work on the Shaggoth space next. Alright. Well, my Shaggoth is pretty much done by his base. Where is it? There we go. That's the Shaggoth done up as Darkwalkers. So we'll get working on his base. Such a damn cool model of the Dragon Ogre Shaggoth. Ooh, nice. Marauder Horsemen aren't bad models. I do like the Marauder Horsemen models, actually. There's plenty of armies that need more models, man. There's we're at that point now in Age of Sigmar though, where I think most armies will start to see new models soon enough. It just takes time. But yeah, do definitely agree that Flesh of the Courts definitely need new models. But yeah. Like for Flesh of the Courts, I definitely wouldn't mind seeing like some actual what's the name of them? Courtier models. I wouldn't mind seeing like some actual Courtier models with Flesh of the Courts. So you're not having to break up your boxes to build a Courtier. Be left with odd numbered models and units you can't use. It's actually an effort holding this model up. It's so freaking heavy. Technically, Soulblight is a vampire army. It's just not fully fleshed out. It's probably the last army we're waiting on an update for now. Wolf Force. That's a joke, by the way, my variant. I know you're new. That's just a fun thing that a lot of people like to poke at Bretonian players. So there are technically not. It's just interesting that Flesh of the Courts took on all the aspects of like. What army did I say? No, I was talking about Soul Blight. Blight. Thank you very much, Wolf Paws. It's such a pain holding that model up. He's got so much weight to him. Like, honestly, my answer would be don't with Soul Blight. You can probably go grab a Legion of the Gash army to start with. Would probably be the better way to do it at the moment. Blood Knights are ridiculously expensive, and probably if they get an update, we'll probably see a new plastic kit for them as their resin. Although vampire lords and zombie dragons probably aren't going anywhere and probably aren't changing, mainly because it also contains the Terrorgeist, and if Flesh of the Courts didn't get an updated model for that, then it ain't going anywhere. So if you want vampires, I would check out Legions of Nagash and have a look at the Mortarks, Neferata and Manfred, who are both vampires. And have a look at those armies if you really like some vampires, because that'll be like, you'll be able to include a lot of vampires in those armies, but they won't be the whole army. Soulblight at the moment is waiting on an update, so I would probably take caution on getting into that army at the moment. That would be my advice anyway. Just crack my back. Oh, that feels better. So, what do I want to work on next? Well, I'll grab these Grey Shamans. I would say just the Zombie Dragon at the moment. I'd argue even the Foot Vampires. Though the Foot Vampires probably, like, even though they might get updated, they're still fantastic models. My Closet of Shame. Oh, you don't want to know. So, give me a sec. I'll move the camera. I'll show you what's full of Warhammer. That's the unbuilt pile. There's one show. So those cupboards down there, there's 3 of them, are all full of unbuilt models. My Closet of Shame is huge. It includes an entire warrior chamber of Stormcast, of which I have to paint. I promise, sorry, I paint it for a year, and I've made very little progress on that. But we will paint it. What model in my Closet of Shame have I owned the longest without painting it? I actually did painted that more. I reckon it would be, or it's definitely got to be some of my Wood Elves. I would say probably like the Glade Riders or Glade Guard from like one of the. Actually, 2006. It could like it at least would be like that Battle Standard Bearer that I own. Where is he? I actually should have him on the desk over there. This dude is probably one of the oldest because I got the giant Wood Elf box when Wood Elves got released in 2006. So he would be right up there with some of the oldest models. But he's getting painted up. I'm using the 2 old BSBs, him and her as and this pretty lady. The old Wood Elf BSBs, male and female one. I'm using them as just standard bearers in a Glade Guard unit. Eternal Guard unit, which is all the old metal models I have. They're currently being painted, but they're not painted fully, so they're probably some of the oldest models. I have every Wood Elf model that's ever existed. I made it a personal thing to collect all the Wood Elves I could. And so there's not a single Wood Elf model that exists out there that I don't own. That includes the French Games Day model and the staff-only model. I managed to track both down and get them. And like bought in the 90s, like I never ran one on my 8th edition Wood Elf army centered around a bus of Eternal Guard and a bunch of small units around that MSU'd while the opponent tried to remove a Wood Elf unit they couldn't touch. Oh no, so that was my 7th time. It was before the 8th ed book came out, and then that all changed. But yeah, 7th ed, like running bus. So the book before the 8th edition book running in 8th edition is what I mean. So not 7th ed. 8th edition, so I was running like MSU Wood Elves with a block of Eternal Guard in the middle and a block of Treekin, and that was the center of the army. And then I had like Warhawk Riders, Way Watchers, Scouts, and Glade Guard units. That was a really fun list to play. So I'd run like a bus of Eternal Guard. You'd have the BSB and the Glade Lord at the front. They'd be nigh unkillable. And then you'd have a Spellweaver in the back in the second rank, so you couldn't touch her. Because if you deployed 5 wide, command had to be in the front. Your 2 characters that were fighty characters on the side, and then the Spellweaver got to go in the second rank. Speaking of like stuff like that, that just makes me excited for Old World, as long as a bunch of the old grognards leave. There's obvious issues with certain parts of that community that are very, very toxic at the moment. Purple Angel, good evening, mate. Nice to see you. Yeah, so just pulling up my painting guides. I like to keep all my paint things in case I forget what I'm doing, as I have now. So while we wait for that to come up, why not? We'll that's disappointing with the pips missing. Hopefully he can get that sorted. I mean, if you message GW, they'll probably replace shit. Alright, so let's find my Eve Sun Scarlet. We'll get the cloth on these shamans done. And yeah, the pikes or spears, whatever you want to call them, are definitely crazy long. Cool though. I like it. Now we're just working on a couple of British I've got a couple of these models. And yeah, just for note of everyone, we are streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch all at once, which is awesome. Just being able to do all of them at once is fun. Oh, you mean this model? I lost the top of the rider, so I had to cut a witch elf off, and I'm slowly converting her up into a sorceress. Or are you talking about the one before her? Because that one there's only like a 6th edition one. She's like 2010 or something like that. No worries, Christian. Thank you for coming along, man. Thanks for joining in, man. Much appreciated. Go have some breakfast. Yeah, running it through Cinderful Gaming on Twitch. So, give me a sec. I'll find the Twitch link and I'll throw it in the chat. I'm still learning all my Twitch stuff, so. Through. Yeah, if you can find a picture, we'll pause, chuck it in the Discord channel and tag me. I'd be really interested to see what it is. Oh, wow. Okay, that's like, dude, that's older than me. If it's from the 80s, I'm a 90s kid, so that's older than me. I do actually own models that are older than me, which is interesting. But like I haven't owned them that long, if that makes sense. I picked up like models secondhand and stuff like that. I will set up subs. I've got to figure all that out. Which I only changed it over the other day to like actually be usable. So we'll go set up subs for you ASAP, Soren. I'm probably about to hop off for the night anyway soon. Or actually, what's the time? No, not even. I probably won't hop off for a little bit. But yes, I will set up subs for Twitch so people can sub on Twitch if they show wish. Let's have a look at this. Alright, let's have a look and see if I can set up Twitch subs. Well, do this in the middle of a hobby stream. Why not? I got nothing better to do. I mean, I don't plan on going to, so we'll have a look. Alright, I need to look into this properly, I think, by the looks of this. Just looking at that, I need to go have a proper look and proper read of that, so we'll organise that. And thank you very much for Soren. Like the fact you would go out of your way to help support on Twitch, it's great. Appreciate it a lot, man. Appreciate everyone who supports the channel. I mean, I'm just a guy giving some opinion about Warhammer and running some Facebook groups at the end of the day. And it's nice to see like some people enjoy what I have to say and what I do around the place for the hobby. So it's awesome just chatting to folks. Thanks, Soren. That means a lot, man. It's all I want to do is like healthy AOS community means I have a healthy play to do. And I'm glad I've helped you in such a little way, but dude, if it gets people over the line. Cheers, Aaron. And here's a celebrity much bigger than I am. Someone who does a lot of good for the community as well is definitely Mr. Vossian. So, really do appreciate all the support, guys. I mean, it's just me rambling about hobby non-stop. But yeah, Soren, I'll set up the Twitch properly and make sure it's there so you can sub if you so wish. And hopefully we should have some more interesting content coming out soon. So Tuesday I'm getting together with my mates and we're going to attempt to do our first proper battle reports. There's 3 of us because I hate recording and playing. It's so annoying recording and playing. So there'll be 3 of us recording. One of my mates, if you're into cosplay, check out Ideus Does Cosplay. IDAEUS, I believe it's spelled. If you're into cosplay, he's no joke cosplay. Really fantastic. He's also a photographer and for that sort of stuff as well. So he's helping like do the recording side of stuff. And I've got my mate Ryan coming around to play some games. And so we're going to record a couple of games, make some battle reports, just really dip our toes and test out everything we want to do. We'll put them up regardless of how they turn out. And then we really want to focus on like trying to do like narrative wargaming or like more friendly aimed gaming. And we might like throw some like tournament stuff in there, especially if like Ryan's one of my mates that I go to tournaments with, or if I have Cron come over from Aethercast because he's no joke KO player. And so we might do some competitive if we're like planning on going to a tournament, but that might be the only time you see like competitive stuff on the channel is when we're sort of like our plans for going to a tournament, if that makes sense. Otherwise it'll mostly just be like, let's have some fun and let's build some narrative games and just go weird and wacky and play those missions. I was talking to Aaron and like how we want to play through the missions in the original books. At which point I'll send you a message after this, Aaron. I've got a time and stuff for thingy for you. So for Age of Sigmar, I'm going to be doing a painting challenge of trying to paint a Start Collecting box in a set amount of time. So for those who want to come watch, I'm going to try and paint a Fire Slayer Start Collecting box in, I believe it's 8 hours. And the reason why it's 8 hours is because that's what StreamYard allows me to do in one block. So that'll be that. We've got a Start Collecting box of Fire Slayers. We're going to do 8 hours and we're going to try and paint it. So it'll already be built. I should probably get building that in the next day. Probably the next day or so and probably get building that. But it'll be a bit of fun. I really enjoyed the last one I did. Like I was talking about how I painted 1,000 points of Stormcast in tried 8 hours. I did fail that. It ended up taking me about 12 hours to paint 1,000 points of Stormcast. In fact, that 1,000 points of Stormcast there, can't really see it properly. It's just effectively it was the like Soul War step minus the Castigators, but then all the other units filled up. We're also planning on something on the channel. So me and a bunch of mates, we're planning on doing something cool for Movember. At the moment, it's looking like we're going to be, I think there's 4 of us that are going to try and attempt it, maybe more. But we're doing a live stream of 24 hours trying to paint a 2,000 point Space Wolf army in 24 hours. So there'll be a bunch of us working on it together. And then we might do something cool where maybe we film a couple of battle reports on the channel with it, and maybe we raffle off the army for charity as well. So I think that'll be pretty cool. So full details aren't decided yet. I'm not sure whether we'll raffle it off straight away or maybe save it for later for a raffle, and use it on the channel a little bit first. So, but we were talking about bunches of different armies, and we're talking about Fire Slayer. So we were thinking, well, it's Movember, so we wanted a beardy army. KO were an option. We thought that was unattainable in 24 hours, even with a bunch of us painting them. There's just way too much detail in that to paint. We thought about Fire Slayers as well. However, I don't think the army would be as cool looking at the end. Like, I like Fire Slayers, but there's not enough diversity in the army to be cool, I guess. So we went to a 40k route because one of my mates is a bit more 40k player, and he suggested Space Wolves because they're all beardy, they're all, big Viking-looking Space Marines, and we decided to go with that because they've got big beards, and most importantly, the base color comes in a spray can. And so I should have some more details on that sort of thing to do later. But I try to do something for Movember every year. So this will be probably a much more ambitious attempt than I've ever done. But it'll be fun, I reckon. But yeah, so yeah, that'll be a good bit of fun trying to paint up a Fire Slayer army in a certain amount of time. And yeah, we should be adding on talking about like I think both are great games. Like AOS is definitely my main game now. There was a time when 40k was probably my main game, and probably a time when fantasy was my main game as well. and fluctuate. Like generally, where my local store went is where I sort of went with my gaming at the time, and go through periods. But I think at the end of it, like AOS is definitely the main game I play, but with the new 40k edition coming out, I don't think there's been a better time to get into 40k. The best time to get into any game is with the new edition, because it just changes everything. And you also start from pretty much level 1 again. Especially the way they're talking about this 40k, if it's the big change that like some massive changes that sort of shook up AOS when AOS sort of 2.0 hit up. I think 40k will have a big bit of a shake up. My local store now is probably a friendly local game store known as Tabletop Warfare out in Gawler. That's probably my local store now. Although I do work near Games Workshop Modbury, though I don't frequent there much, mainly because when I finish it's closed, or I work there on days when it's closed. Generally, I get a day early in the week off, and Warhammer shops around my place are closed, or the one in the city is just too far to go, especially in current situations. I don't really like going into the city. Yeah, and that's the same as me, like my variant. I haven't bothered to learn any 8th edition rules. When 9th comes out, I'll grab the rulebook and I'll learn how to play. Then I do have a Space Marine force, of which I'm going to build up, which are going to be called the Shoemakers. And if you know that reference as to why something space related is called Shoemakers, I'm pretty proud of you. It's going to be an interesting army to have to work on. Yeah, Tabletop Warfare is good. Like I get along well with the owners, which is the most important thing. More than community at all. Like good shop owners make for a good hobby community, and the guys at Tabletop Warfare really do a good job. Raven Guard are definitely one of my more favorite chapters. Like out of the, I guess the first founding, I'm probably drawn out of the good guys to Raven Guard and Blood Angels are generally the two I'm drawn to the most. I used to have quite a large Blood Drinkers army. Hobby Matrix is great. It's just so out of my way. Like there's no other way to say it. Like Hobby Matrix is great. I know it's a good store. Lots of people say it's a good store. It's out of my way. It's just an inconvenient place for me to get to. It's the small unfortunate, but Tabletop Warfare does that for me. Like, is a great local friendly game store. Yeah, for me, like up north, it's like TDP. If I didn't work near it, would not be a local store I would frequent that much. Salamanders aren't necessarily nice. They're humane. They feel human, if that makes sense. Doesn't mean they're necessarily nice. They can be as... Yeah, I did see that they've got a nice new store. And where's the no AOS community at all, Kyle? I will say that too, is like the AOS community has certainly moved out of the stores. I think it's grown so much that it actually doesn't need it. We're now holding local club meets at an RSL now. Where they'll be running the Cinderful District Grand Tournament in about a month. So we no longer need, the AOS community has grown large enough that it no longer needs a store to house it. If that makes sense. I do know a few people at the Hobby Matrix that do play AOS. A couple of mates of mine go there and play AOS, but it's definitely not the main game that I see talked in like the groups about it. It's definitely 40k is the predominant game. Ugh. Ooh. Didn't damage him. That did not sound good when I tried. Drakari cool. Eldar in general are cool. I've, as you saw on the channel, I had a massive unboxing of a giant Eldar thing I got from a mate for my birthday. So I look forward to getting and building and painting some Eldar, which should be a lot of fun. We played. Carl, no, they're not. You should be able to find Cinderful District Grand Tournament on Facebook, and all the details are on there. Requirements are you have to have a painted 2,000 point army on round bases. That's the requirements. So, yeah, that is the only requirements. Stuff does have to be painted and it has to be on round bases. And hey, Earth Minis, hope you're doing well. And Soren, I'm completely sorry for ignoring you, Soren. I did not have the Twitch chat open. I've got to get it. Apparently there's something I can organise. Well, if you do and you want to come along, it's the 1st and 2nd of August, and yeah, you can find all the links, the description and all that. Just look up Cinderful District Grand Tournament on Facebook, or you should be able to go onto the Cinderful Gaming page on Facebook, and you should have the event should be attached to that, as it's run by the channel. So yeah, if you want to do that and you want to come take part, that's how you find it. It should be a good lot of fun. And yeah, so I've played many games of both. I had a lot of 40k. I did sell all my 40k when I had my daughter. At that point, I decided to downsize to one game. And I'm probably happy I did, because I got rid of all my old Marines. I just can't stand old Marines anymore, especially next to the Primaris. If there's one thing I don't like in 40k, it is Primaris and old Marines coexisting. I'd rather the old Marines die. I know that's a controversial take, but that's how I feel about it. I'd rather they just disappear. And I honestly think they are going to eventually. Hot, humid, I was good. Humid, the most hated. I can deal with heat. It can be 40 degrees and it can be fine, because I can turn my air conditioner on and it'll work. When it's humid, my air conditioner stops working, and that's when I become a very grumpy person. I hate humidity. That's probably why I hate the Gold Coast and Queensland and or Bondi and all that sort of stuff. I hate humidity. Cannot stand that. Like where I live in South Australia, it gets hot, like really hot. Like not this year, but the year before, we had a day of 49.7 degrees Celsius. So I have no idea what that is in Fahrenheit, but that's hot. Yeah, that was not fun. Yeah. I'll go do a conversion because I'm interested for that. So 49.7 degrees Celsius, for those wondering, in Fahrenheit is 121.46 degrees in Fahrenheit. For those watching, for those interested. I don't know, that sounds so much worse than Fahrenheit. The fact it's over 100, that just makes that sound horrible. So I have no idea if that is like really hot for America. I'd like to think that is. Yeah, like to put it in perspective, Australia is the driest country on Earth, and I live in the hottest and driest state in the hottest and driest country in the world. Yeah, and you're in the middle of a desert though in Texas. Like this is like next to rivers and like near the beach, and it's still 49. Like that I think that's like the big difference. Is like we're not in the middle of a country with 49 degrees. That's Adelaide is like where I live, where it was 49. I'm within 15 minutes from the ocean. That's when you know it's hot. And it's not just like that it'll be 49 for one day and then it'll go away. It's that you'll get weeks upon weeks of 40 degrees plus here. So you'd be up in that range for 1, 2, sometimes even 3 weeks on end, and it just will be hot. I think that's the big difference between like where it's like hot, but like where it should be cooler here. because it's in the middle of the, like, it's not far from the ocean, but it's still that boiling hot. Yeah, I know Texas is hot because you're right near what is it, that Death Valley in Mexico is the highest recorded temperature in the world ever. Yeah, I don't think Texas is a bit like, Texas is the one that everyone always says is like likened to where I live in Adelaide. And like, it's the weird thing with like Adelaide is like our cities don't just end, our cities just sort of end, and then all of a sudden it's forest. And so bushfires are a constant threat. Like, I'm kilometers away from any forest, but I'll have bushfire warnings and I'll have to evacuate from bushfires. There were serious bushfires. Like, we were 500 meters away from evacuation lines, and like during all the big bushfires. Yeah, and that's like the same with South Australia. Like, it does snow in South Australia in some parts as well. We have the Flinders Ranges. Mount Gambier is not too bad. And generally, like, the hottest parts in like my state are when you go like to central Australia in South Australia, and so you start going up into like Cooper Pedy and Roxby Downs. And yes, those are names of real places. Oh, cool. Mum lives near Mount Gambier. That's cool. Mount Gambier is lovely. It's a really nice area out there. The Adelaide Hills are absolutely beautiful. They're full of like old German towns as well, which is really nice. Let's go on completely off topic with painting and Warhammer, but I do want to go over to America at some point. I mean, when lots of things in America are currently a lot nicer, and we'll leave it at that. And I won't talk any more on that situation. And yeah, Cooper Pedy is so hot, people live underground. Yep, that's a thing. So yeah, it's 49 degrees in the city near the ocean in South Australia. Imagine what the place in the middle of the desert is. And yeah, if you are watching from anywhere, don't forget to leave a like and on the video. If you're watching from like Facebook, leave a like on the video. If you're watching from YouTube, leave a like. Twitch, I don't know what you do. Like the channel. I've got to set that up properly. And I will do, so anyone who wants to sub on Twitch can. Don't forget to subscribe on Facebook and all that jazz. All helps the channel get found, and I think it's starting to grow even when I don't put stuff up, so I think that's when it's starting to do well now. Nice. I'll put a Sniper Scouts done. I will say that the only Space Marine models I don't mind still existing along with the Primaris is Scouts. Oh, nice. Yeah, definitely. Always chuck pictures up in the Discord, man. And yeah, on the link description there should always be stuff up of there should always be links to both Discord and Patreon. Oh, no. Well, welcome, and I hope you hope the channel has been useful. I do have a video on the Start Collecting Gloomspike Gits box. Although with Gits, it's not necessarily... It's a good... How did I explain the Gits one? The Gits one is a great start to the collection, not necessarily the army, because it gives you all the different options, but all of them sort of do their own thing within Gits. If you want to get started with Gloomspike Gits, though, I think the best way is to buy troops. Cheers, man. Enjoy doing some chores around the house. And yeah, like talking to you, Soren, like all those things with like the Marines, like the Sanguinary Guard, Death Company, Sanguinary Priest, and all that. I hope they get Primaris variations. Like I hope everything gets Primarified and given like some new cool models. Like we started to see like Primaris Devastators in the new like stuff, and like Assault Marines without jump packs, and I hope we see more and more Primaris looking stuff. Love to see like some Primaris, like a variation of Terminators. Yeah, and I think Noah, that's probably like the best like thing I can say is like that Start Collecting box does give you like lots of cool little tools. Yeah, aggressors like the shooting Terminator. I want some Terminators that are combat. I want combat Terminator variations. Alrighty. However, guys, it's getting late, and I've got a football game to go watch soon. So I need to go make sure I've got some stuff done for the morning, because I've got work in the morning and I want to watch my football game. So I'm going to head off, but thank you everyone for joining on, wherever you've joined on from, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and I will sort out that Twitch definitely probably after this. That's some of the things I've got to go do. And yeah, don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, all that stuff. Don't forget to go like the Facebook page for Sinful Gaming. You can find our Discord in the link on the video down below if you're on YouTube. I'm not sure if it appears on Twitch or anything like that. Got to figure all that stuff out. But definitely, yeah, follow, whatever one you're doing. And also for those who support the channel on Patreon, you guys are amazing. Thank you all for your support. And you can find a link to the Patreon on the same way down below in the comments. But that's all from me. I'll see you all again real soon. We'll be up on Wednesday night for the Work in Progress Wednesday, which will probably run a bit later because I've not got work the night after. So we'll see how that goes. Have a good night, everyone. Thanks all for joining. And come on, the Blues better freaking win if I'm staying up late to watch you play football. Ciao for now, guys.